विश्वानि देव सवितर्दुरितानि परासुव यद्भद्रं तन्न आसुव। श्री परमात्मने नमः। नमः सभायै आगतवद्भ्यः सर्वेभ्यः स्वागतं। द्वितीय दिने प्रथमसत्रे सर्वेषां कृते पुनरेकवारं स्वागतम्। इतोपि केचन छात्राः आगच्छन्तः सन्ति, तान् एकवारं मेसेज् सन्देशं कृत्वा शीघ्रम् आह्वयन्तु। आचार्याः सिद्धाः सन्ति। अस्मिन् सत्रे KVSN मूर्तिमहोदयः अस्मान् सम्यक् मार्गदर्शनं करिष्यन्ति। विशाखपट्टणतः आगतवन्तः एते आचार्याः। इदानीं महोदयस्य विषये लघु परिचयः जयन्त महोदयेन अत्र क्रियते।
Welcome to all. Two-week national workshop on educational research methodology. Today is the second day. First session. Here, resource person Dr. KVSN Murthy sir. He is a ex-dean, Faculty of Education, SCSMVV University, Kanchipuram, Tamil Nadu. He completed so many MA and MSc, MA Telugu, MA Sociology, MA English, MA Philosophy, MA Geology, MSc Geology. He also qualified UGC NET in education and completed PhD in education. He got so many administrative positions like Dean, Director for Center for Development of Teaching and Learning, Chairman Council of Deans in SCSBMB University. He is in charge of Dean, Faculty of Science, SCSBM University, Director of IQAC, Head Examination Committee, Office in charge of Off-Campus Center, so many administrative positions. He have 40 years teaching experience. He life member of so many academic field, life member of All India Journal of Educational Research, member of Journal Miracle of Teaching, member in editorial board. He published so many books, so many journals, paper, so many different journals. Actually, his biodata, so many pages. It is very short time to reading all things. So, welcome to Dr. KVSN Murthy sir. Please come and take a session.
Sabhaya Namaha. It's a great privilege and pride for me to be amidst you on this grand gala morning and to have an interaction and share my thoughts. And prior to that, I will be greatly beholden to the management of this university and the director of this program, Professor Venkatrao, and my dearest friend Chandrasekhar was the coordinator, giving me this opportunity to enrich myself with your interaction. So because as I told you earlier, that there's only one process, that is learning and learning. I have to learn from you so many things. And in the same way, it is a platform to exchange our thoughts. And second important thing is, people all over India have come over here and congregated and working together, learning together. Almost a mini Bharat is seen here. People from Jammu Kashmir, people from Uttar Pradesh, people from West Bengal, people from Kerala, whatnot, from various places. The slogan of India is unity in diversity has been proved here, and it was made possible by this National Sanskrit University with their commitment arranging this particular seminar or workshop. So today I was basically given a topic on hypothesis and the variables. That was the first topic. I'm not going so deep into the concepts and introducing these concepts, and it's your turn to go deeper into that one and learn the things which are required. And let us welcome to you all to this workshop which is conducted by the university, and about the hypothesis is the first one. This is the plan of presentation. So in the hypothesis, the meaning, definition of hypothesis, functions of hypothesis, requisites for formulation of the hypothesis, criteria of hypothesis, sources of hypothesis, various types of hypothesis, and conclusions. This is the first part, and in the second part we are going to discuss about the variables and control of the extraneous variables. Particularly this topic was given to me, and the types of extraneous variables, examples of variables, characteristics of variables, purpose of variables, and advantages of variables and limitations of variables. So these are the plan of presentation of my talk. And next. So coming to this, etymological meaning of hypothesis. What is etymology? What is etymology? Wherever you come across a word as a suffix, ology or logos, means it is something study of or science of. Zoology, zoon, animal, study of animals. Psychology, psyche, mind, study of mind or soul. And numerology, study of numbers. Astrology, study of heavenly bodies. Cardiology, study of the heart. Wherever you come across the word as a suffix, that is what you call it as a study of. Etymology. Etymos means origin and development of the words. It's a branch in English language. How the words come into existence. It is speaking about that. There are, you might have heard about the word sadist. Sadist means who actually gives the pain to others. This word has come into English dictionary after the name of a person called Count de Sade. That was the name. He was a tax collector in the reign of Napoleon Bonaparte. And whether crops are there or not, this is the amount you have to pay. He used to take it forcibly. Whether people are dying or not, he never minded. After his great name, the sadist is a word which has come into the English dictionary. So this is what you call it as etymology. That is the study of origin and development of the words. Calico, that is a cotton which is actually prepared in Calicut. So from that it has come that name calico cloth. Understand? And here hypothesis is a word which is derived from the Greek roots. Hypo means under, below, and to be consummate. And thesis means theory. This is the derivation of this particular word. Hypo means under. You see, hypothyroid, here simple whiter comes due to the less secretion of the thyroxine. That's called hypothyroid. Hypoactive means lazy fellow, who is inert. Hyperactive is a too much of activity. And the needle which is given for injection. That's called, it's not a needle. It is called a hypodermic needle. Hypodermic, hypo means under. Derma means skin, which is penetrating under the skin. Hence it is called as a hypodermic needle. Wherever you come across the word hypo means its meaning is under. So it is not a thesis. It is to become the thesis once it is proved. So this is nothing but an intelligent guess. It is nothing but it is prepared to be a theory. Hence the name hypothesis has come into that. Every word has a meaning that will tell you if you learn the things from their basic roots. And that is called, from etymology, if you study, English is very easy to remember various words. I will give you a wonderful example here. If you kill yourself, what do you call it? Suicide. Side, C-I-D-E, side, not S-I-D-E. You will become side. C-I-D-E, side means to kill. The suffix of kill, su, self-killing, that's called suicide. If you kill father, patricide. If you kill mother, matricide. If you kill sister, sororicide. If you kill brother, equality, liberty, fraternity, fratricide. If you kill your own wife, uxoricide. If you kill the parents, it's a parricide. If you kill the king, it's a regicide. If you kill the whole race like Adolf Hitler, it's a xenocide. And if you kill germs, it's a germicide. If you kill small babies, it's an infanticide. If you kill the pests, it's a pesticide. If you kill the bats, it's a heriptocide. And if you kill snails, it's called melacocide. Now 20 words I spoke. It's easy for you to remember all the words because they have been derived from a single root, side. That is the power of etymology. Coming to this hypothesis, under the thesis, what does it mean? It is an assumption based on evidence. Simply you cannot say any word which you like it. You can't assume. So it is an assumption. Evidence is a must for hypothesis. When you are forming a hypothesis, there must be evidence. And it is the initial point of the research is hypothesis. It predicts various questions and predications could be done through this hypothesis. And it includes the various components like the variables and population, and the relationship between those will be explained through the hypothesis. That's the reason why hypothesis plays a very vital role in the research. And coming to next is the definition of the hypothesis according to Brand is a tentative or working proposition suggested as a solution to the problem, and the theory final hypothesis which is defensively based on the evidence. Without evidence, hypothesis cannot be constructed or formulated. Now, functions of hypothesis. What are the major functions? Hypothesis facilitates extension of the knowledge. Your knowledge will be expanded in particular area. It gives the tentative explanations about the facts and phenomenon. Phenomenon means various drigvishay, which you call it as a phenomenon. Fact is a truth. Fact is a truth which is universal in nature, that only called as a fact. Concept is subjective. Generalization is a common thing. A theory cannot be proved, but the theory has an existence. And principle, Archimedes' principle you say, but Charles' principle you don't say. Charles' law, Archimedes' principle, everything is very well defined, and an excellent demarcation is there for every word which you are using it. So it facts and phenomena, and it is subjected to testing, and the validation also takes place. So these are all the functions of the hypothesis, and it provides the rational statements consisting of the elements in the logical order of the relationships between the variables, events which will be done in this. Next, hypothesis gives us a direction to the research. It gives a direction to the research. In which way you have to proceed. That is the first thing in any activity. Where to go. So it gives the proper direction to the people. Next is, it provides conclusions of the study can be done through the hypothesis. And it makes the observation and experiments possible. It is the first point of discussion in any research. It is a starting point. Hypothesis is a starting point. And it makes the people to start inquiry in a right direction. So that's the reason why hypothesis is very, very important in the research. Next. What are the requisites of the hypothesis? When you are going to formulate a hypothesis, three important aspects are to be taken care. One is the richness of the background knowledge. A person who is having very depth in the knowledge of that particular area, and his hypothesis will be very sound, very logical, and very perfect in its essence and reality. So what is the background knowledge means? You should read books before going to prepare a hypothesis. I will give you an example. You are from Midnapur. So if I ask you a question, Midnapur town city is beautiful or Tirupati is beautiful? You can give a reply. You have seen Midnapur, you have seen Tirupati, and you can give a reply. And if the same question, if I ask you, Montreal is beautiful or Tirupati is beautiful? Did you see Montreal?
That's what I'm saying.
Then how do you give the answer? If you don't have a sufficient knowledge, you cannot give the comparison. You can't make comparison. For making a comparison, you should have a knowledge. When you should have a knowledge, then only you can say Montreal is a beautiful city than Tirupati, or Tirupati is a beautiful city than. If I ask you mango is sweeter or banana is sweeter, so mango you say. If I say lychee fruit is sweeter or mango is sweeter, lychee kabhi khaye hi nahi. So how do you say about it? So that background knowledge is very, very important in order to formulate any hypothesis which you like. Second is versatility of intellect. You should have a versatility. Having a knowledge of the various aspects are required when you are preparing a particular hypothesis. In fact, knowledge is only one. For our convenience, we have divided that into various parts like a watertight compartments. I will give you a beautiful example which you call it as a integration of the knowledge. If you ask a philosopher, he says a statement, no two beings are created by the God alike. No two beings are created by the God alike. It's a philosophical a priori. When you ask a watchmaker, he says, no two hands of the watch will show the exact time in the world. Both are same. Concept is same, but it is a watchman saying, and it is philosophical a priori. If you come for biology, universal occurrence of variation, says Charles Darwin in his natural selection theory. So occurrence will be, difference will be universally occurring. For example, a herd of sheep is going. You can't identify which sheep is there. But the owner of the sheep says, oh, Savitri is missed today. Out of 40, 39 are there. So Savitri is missed. So he is able to identify, means there is a difference among the sheep. Come to the physics. It is a Pauli's exclusion principle, you say. No two electrons will have the same four quantum numbers. All are same concept. One is physics, One is biology, one is philosophy, one is watchmaker. See. So knowledge is basically one. It's an integrated approach. The versatility of the intellect of the person certainly makes and it helps in the preparation of a hypothesis. Third is analogy. So when you are able to make the analogical deductions, hypothesis is very strong. What do you mean by analogy? I will give you an example. In the competitive examinations, people will give you air is to aeroplane, water is to what? It's a question and analogy. Air is to aeroplane, water is to what? I will give you the alternatives. A, ship. B, boat. C, fish. D, submarine. Which is correct answer? Yes, which is correct answer? Submarine. Fish. Steamer. So air is a medium. Aeroplane is going through the medium. So therefore your answer, that particular answer should go through the water. So boat will not go through the water, on the water. Steamer on the water. So two are taken away. Submarine will go through the water. Fish also goes through the water. Both are right. But aeroplane is a machine. But fish is an animal. Therefore submarine will be the correct answer. This is the analogy. So analogical deductions could be done when you are having that background. Your hypothesis formulation should be wonderful. Next. So if hypothesis is a relational hypothesis, and it should state the relationships between the variables, independent variable and the dependent variable. The explanation of hypothesis should always be very simple in its terms. Simplicity is not proportional to the significance of the study. So significance of the hypothesis and simplicity are not related at all. Next. These are all the criteria of hypothesis. And what are the criteria which are required for the formulation of hypothesis? And it is a clear, precise, considered to be reliable. It should be very clear in terms, it should be precise, and it should be reliable. Reliable means whenever you conduct this one, the same result should come. Then only you can call it as reliable. Hypothesis must be testable. It should be subjected to testing. Even all the theories, the science, when you are talking about the science, everything in the science is subjected to testing and testing and testing all the time. Because many years people believed that earth is flat. Thousands of years people believed, because Ptolemy, the great Greek giant and intellectual, told that. If anybody questions, no sir, are you greater than Ptolemy? Shut up. And it is only flat, not round. People believed so many years. And after that, Tycho Brahe, Kepler, and other people have proved that earth is round in shape. Even in Varahatara, so he has made the earth into the global. So Indian versions very clearly indicate that the earth is round in shape. But that's the reason why Richard Feynman, a Nobel laureate in the theoretical physics, rightly says scientists are nothing but, it is, what is science? He defined it, it is the belief in the ignorance of the experts. It is a belief in the ignorance of the experts. That is what he called as a science. What is right today may not be right tomorrow in science. That's the reason why philosophy is always having a higher rung of the ladder when you compare to the science. The hypothesis should be specific. and the scope for the contesting experimentation again and again and again. And it is expected to establish a relationship between the variables. And hypothesis should be limited in scope, because you cannot write very complex compound sentences in hypothesis. Only one particular idea should be exhibited in the hypothesis. Hypothesis should be consistent with the more known facts. It should be consistent with the more known facts. Based on this only, we are going to actually formulate a hypothesis. And earlier, because the hypothesis should be stated as far as possible in the simpler, clear, precise, candid terminology. And it should be amenable to the testing within a particular framework of the time. So it cannot take more time as you like. So this is the time in which it should be subjected to testing. And then, what are the sources of hypothesis? So first source of the hypothesis is resemblance between the phenomenon. When two things are looking alike, then what the differences or similarities, based on that you can derive the hypothesis. Observations from the past studies, present day experience, and from competitors. These are all the things which are the sources for the hypothesis. Because earlier people used to say, Bhima was so strong that he held the proboscis of the elephant and he has thrown that into the sky. It never came down. So people believed it is an exaggeration. It cannot be, but today we can prove it is true. How? If Bhima is able to throw it with such a speed, where at the end of the gravitational pull, if it attains 11.2 kilometers per second speed, which you call it as escape velocity, all satellites are going out. Why? Escape velocity, with that speed, if he is able to, Bhima is able to throw with his power, obviously it won't fall down on the earth and it will take rounds around the earth. It is true. So therefore, the past experiences and also present day experiences, these things should be coupled, and there obviously you can find various hypotheses from the scientific theories. When you study a particular theory, and then the lacunae which you can see, and when you see the lacunae, and it will give a scope for you to talk about or make a study of or formulate the hypothesis. Even in this, when you darshanas or Gita, whatever you are studying it, so there is one sloka which you are all aware. Nainam chindati satrani, nainam dahita pavakaha, na chenam kledavantapyo, na soshayati marutaha. So this is what the sloka says it. So the Atma is, it cannot be destroyed with the weapons, nor with the fire, nor it can be wet. It cannot be thrown with the air. So this is what, it is neither created nor destroyed. This is the thing which you have done. And now the question arises here. At the time when Gita was told, how many people were there in this universe? Take 30 crores of people. Today in India itself it is more than 140 crores. Everybody is having an Atma or not. Then how new Atmas came into existence? How new Atmas have come into existence? When you are saying that Atma is neither created nor destroyed, then how they have come? It's a hypothesis which you can form it. And then you have to contemplate upon. Thereby, you can derive that and you can prove, yes, they will increase. When Atma is there for all the living creatures, if you take into consideration, and they may take the shape of a human being, then the Atma is possible. So what are the deductions which you are supposed to make the deductions on that? But we are simply by hearting the lesson and we are explaining the things to the people. Never we are analyzing the things in a logical way. That is the beauty of the logic. When Advaita is spoken, you simply move your head and agree with that. When Dvaita is spoken by the qualified monism, you agree with that one. When Visishtadvaita is spoken, you agree with that one. That's the beauty of the logic. That it makes you to agree. Then, even in the Western philosophy, the naturalism or idealism you take, naturalist says that only matter is real, not the mind. But idealist says mind is real, not the matter. Because a matter cannot create new things, but mind can create new things and new ideas. Then naturalists put a question, where is your mind? It is in the head. Is it in the head? It is in the brain. What is brain? It is made up of matter. Without brain, are you having mind? No. Then, without matter, how mind will exist? So matter is ultimate real. This is the beauty of the chopping of the words in the logic. Indian philosophy is unique in this one. Most complex logical deductions are seen only in Indian philosophy. Next, German philosophy, they also have taken this. Other Western philosophies are quite simple. Whether even about the existence of the God or epistemology, you say metaphysics, or you say axiology, whatever it might be. Right? And then, so general patterns of the influence, the thinking process of the people. Right, next. So before going to make a hypothesis, you can formulate the hypothesis based on the situation. I will give you an example here. When I was working in abroad, there are 6,000 students were there, and computer examination was conducted. Out of 100, 85 to 90 people got more than 85 to 90%. Then the vice president congregated all the deans. I was the dean at the time. So all the people he has congregated. And he told, so many people got more than 85 to 100%. What does it mean? He asked. Then the computer had told, so students have written very well, they are all very intelligent. Generally here is, more results are coming means you are great. He said, that is the direction of ours. And then he asked, Professor of Education, you can throw a light on this. Then I told, sir, these are the hypotheses which you have to make. Number one, all the students must be highly intelligent so they can get it. Number two, they may be copied down the paper. There is a possibility, so they will get more marks. Number three, the teachers might have dictated. They may get the good marks. Number four, the whole examination may be confined only to 1 or 2 chapters. So there is a possibility of getting more marks there. Or examination paper must be released before. So 5, 6 I have given it. Then he told, Professor, you study these things. Then we have actually taken all the things, having an interview with the people, and after that we have given a report to the people. Then again he has put a meeting. As per the report, it's not possible for all the people to get 85 to 90. So I cancel the whole paper, and again paper will be conducted, and you have to evaluate. That was the decision taken. So when you form a hypothesis, how many types you can actually formulate? Everywhere you can actually formulate the hypothesis if you very clearly observe. And observation is different from seeing. We see the things, but we don't observe the things. We see the things, but don't observe the things. if you make an observation, then your hypothesis will emerge out of it. Everybody saw that if not apple, our guava fruit, if not guava, mango, always falling on the earth only. Thousands and millions of people saw that. But it is only the Newton who said that due to the gravitation only it is pulling. Why? Why only the Newton? It means he has observed it and we saw that. That is only the difference. So my dear friends, these are all the various types of hypotheses which are very popular. Among this also mostly two hypotheses only in our quantitative research we are using. One is a null hypothesis and the second is a complex hypothesis and directional hypothesis, only these things. So simple hypothesis, complex hypothesis, directional and non-directional. Null hypothesis, associative hypothesis and causal hypothesis. So 7 types of hypothesis can be enumerated.
Sir, one example of complex hypothesis, for example, sir.
I will give you. Here is a simple hypothesis. What is a simple hypothesis? In this hypothesis, one independent variable will be there, one dependent variable will be there. Then it is called as a simple hypothesis. Here is an example. If you eat more vegetables, you will lose weight faster. This is the hypothesis which was actually made. Consumption of sugary drinks every day leads to obesity. This is another one. These are all the examples for the simple hypothesis. Here, one independent variable, one dependent variable will be there. That's all right, not more. Coming to the complex hypothesis. Here, 2 or more independent will be there and 2 or more dependent variables will be there. Then it is called as a complex hypothesis, just like a simple sentence and complex sentence. Right? And here, if you eat vegetables and fruits, leads to weight loss, glowing skin, and reduces the risk of many diseases. So these are all 2 independent variables are given, vegetables and fruits. 3 independent dependent variables are given. One is growing skin, second is weight loss, third is reduces the risk of diseases. That is heart disease and all other things. So glowing skin, not of what you call people will give that assumption of fair and lovely, first week, second week, third week. So glowing skin will come. It will not come like that. Understand? And even that beauty is also, it is culture specific. Beauty is culture specific. It is not universal. When I was in an African country, in a departmental store, when I was searching there, one cream I have seen, I was so fascinated to see that. There it is. What is written there, you know? Dark and lovely. Here you are saying only fair and lovely. There dark and lovely. The dark you are, the beautiful you are. That is the equation. So beauty concept is, it is not universal. It is culture specific. It depends on the culture to which you are embraced to. That defines the beauty. In Egypt, those who are having a longer necks, they are beautiful. That's the reason why they used to put the rings here, just like a giraffe. You have to make your neck longer and longer. Right. So here they show the researcher intellectually committed to a particular outcome. The hypothesis, this is directional, it gives a direction. That is the nature of the things should be explained here in the directional hypothesis. Non-directional hypothesis, no direction is mentioned. Here you can see that the outcome, particular outcome for which it is committed. And here is an example, if you see that one, there will be a positive relationship between individuals' attitudes towards caste Hindus and his socio-economic status. So this is a positive relationship, it is giving a direction to that one. That's the reason why it is called as directional hypothesis. And another example which we study here. Adolescent boys with IQ, with high IQ, will exhibit low anxiety than boys with low IQ. It is giving a direction. So nature is being explained here. So, and in a similar way, children aged 4 years eating proper food over 5 years, it is giving a direction here. 5 years, if you are continuously doing the same job, have higher IQ levels than children not having a proper meal, and their IQ level will be lower. So here shows the effect and the direction very clearly shown here. And another example which I have given you is 7 hours of sleep. People who are getting, they feel less fatigue in their work than people who are having yesterday night up to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, I could not get sleep. Okay, I could not sleep. And early morning I got up at 5:30. So fatigue will be there. But it's not a fatigue, because this is what the bhojan for me. When audience are there, for a teacher, he never feels fatigue, and he will be more enthusiastic to deliver the goods. That's one of the quality of a good teacher. Next, it is a non-directional hypothesis. In the non-directional hypothesis, direction is not given. Its only thing is the relationship only will be expressed. And there is no theory is involved here. It's a statement which makes about the relationship between the two variables. And it won't predict anything about it. Example will see. There will be a difference in the adaptability of fathers and mothers towards rearing of their children. That's all. No particular direction is mentioned here. Hence it is called as non-directional hypothesis. There is a difference in the anxiety level of adolescent girls with high IQ and low IQ. No direction is actually mentioned. So above hypothesis, differences are stipulated, but direction is not stipulated. Null hypothesis, this is very widely used. It is a positive statement or a negative statement could be given here. And no relationship, they start with no relationship will exist. After doing the levels of significance at 0.01 level or 0.05 level, and after calculation whether to accept it or to reject that particular hypothesis will be done. And it is denoted by H0, H1, H2, H3. Like that it is, the symbol is that. All lilies have the same number of petals is an example of null hypothesis. Next. There is no significant difference between the academic achievement of high school athletes and that of non-athletes. So there is no significant difference. It always starts with there is no significant difference. There is no significant difference between the males and the females with respect to so and so. And it can be tested statistically. So it should be tested with this statistical inferences. Hence it is called as statistical hypothesis. Null hypothesis is otherwise called as statistical hypothesis. And also it is subjected to testing all the time. So it is called as testing hypothesis. Also the other names of this hypothesis. Associative hypothesis. Association means it goes with one another. When it is there is a change in one variable and it results in the change in the other variable, then it is called as associative hypothesis. It defines independency of the variables. They are independent. If one is changing, the other also will change. Example here is, there is a positive association between physical activity levels and overall health. Physical activities are decreased, overall health will decrease. They are more, and oral health will increase. So one change is made in one variable, the change also will be made in the other variable. Whereas the elder one is a causal hypothesis. It established the cause and effect relationship will be shown here. This is a very important theory in the philosophy, particularly in the theory of knowledge. Cause and effect relationships. Every cause, there is an effect. Every effect, there is a cause. And if some smoke is coming with the higher level smoke is seen, immediately what is your inference? You say, something is burnt down, our houses are burning. You did not see houses are burning down. But on seeing the effect, you are predicting the cause. It is a cause and effect relationship. A child who went into headmaster's room and came out with weeping face and also dull looks, then you understood, oh, one round is taken by the headmaster to this. You did not hear and you did not see, but you can obviously infer that this is what you call cause and effect relationship. Long-term alcohol use causes liver damage. So, using of the alcohol, damaging of the liver, it is the cause and the effect will be very clearly seen. But even today, the sun always rises in the east, if you say. There is no relationship, cause and effect relationship has not existed between the direction and the sun. Till date it is not proved. And here I will give you one example. Long-term usage of the alcohol is definitely leading to liver damage. And people who are intoxicants, one doctor wants to enlighten all the people. So he has made a congregation of all the people. All drunkards have congregated here. And he spoke about so many things. Instead of telling them directly, he put 2 beakers there. Both they filled with some water like solutions are there. And he has taken one beaker, its cap was removed, and he took one earthworm and he let the earthworm down into that particular beaker. And he asked them to observe for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They observed it. The earthworm was wonderfully swimming here and there, and it was quite comfortable. And then he took another earthworm and put in the second beaker, and slowly its skin is disintegrating, pieces coming up. After 10 minutes, there is no earthworm in the beaker. So then he asked, what could be these 2 liquids? Then he turned back, labels he has made. This is, the first one is distilled water. And then second one he has turned out, it is alcohol, he has written. Then, what did you understand by this? He asked the audience. Then many people that they raised their hands, sir, we understood very, very well. Then he asked, what did you understand? Drink alcohol every day, so all the worms in the stomach will vanish. That was the answer given by the people. So therefore, this is what you call it as an example of a selective listening. What you want, that only you take from the essence. But not what actually he wanted to give that. So therefore, these kind of things will not help for the people. It requires interviews and other counseling techniques are to be used. Functions of the hypothesis. It is making observation and experiments are possible. That is the first function of it. And it is the starting point for any investigation. And hypotheses are verifying the observations. You make some observation and you make a hypothesis, and it will be subjected to testing, and it will prove whether it is right or wrong. And it helps in directing the inquiries in the right direction. Whether you are going in the right direction or not, it will be decided by the hypothesis itself. How will hypothesis help in scientific method? Because they play a very vital role in the scientific method. In the scientific method, this is the Carl Pearson who has actually developed the scientific method. These are all the various steps which are involved. One is sensing the problem, defining the problem, and writing up the research questions, and doing of the background research for that, and formulation of the various hypotheses, and designing an experiment for that, and based on that collecting the data, and this data should be analyzed and interpreted, and the results should be analyzed, and you have to summarize the experiment, making of the generalizations, and communication of the results. These are all the various general steps which are involved in any scientific method. So thereby, this particular hypothesis will play a very vital role in the research. So let us have a brief review of the things which we have discussed. Any one of you please come here and tell me what you have actually listened to me. Any one of you come over here.
Actually, we have so many doubts with regard to the hypothesis, sir. On behalf of our students, our staff, the basic question is, first of all, descriptive research and statistical research. In the descriptive researches, hypotheses are there or not, first of all. That is first question. Please clarify.
So usually when you go for a descriptive research, for example, take in Sanskrit, mostly descriptive research goes on. Objectives will be there for the research, but hypothesis will not be there in the descriptive research, because my research was descriptive in nature. Because I have done a comparative study of the philosophical foundations of education in ancient India and the West. So the Western philosophers from the Hellenistic and Jewish period to Emile Durkheim, I have taken that one hand, and from the Vedic Upanishad periods, and then Sutra period, and then Buddhistic period, and Jainistic period, and epic period of Ramayana and Mahabharata, how the educational philosophical foundations are there, and they are compared with the Western thinkers. So there is no hypothesis at all. Only objectives, we speak about objectives only will be there, but hypothesis mostly confined to quantitative research rather than the some qualitative research it is there, but not for the all qualitative researches. Yeah, just have a review. At the end we will go for that one.
Is it confirmed? Is there any chance to there in descriptive research? Some extent?
Usually we don't use hypothesis in descriptive researches. Usually we don't use that.
No, if you write any mistake,
Which one?
in the descriptive method, if you use in hypothesis, any problem?
No, actually the very purpose of hypothesis is when you are using it, you have to test it. After testing it, you have to prove it. But here in the descriptive research, how do you prove that one? You have to prove only with the logical deductions. You have to make the deductions there. But it is not proper as far as descriptive research is concerned.
Excuse me, sir. Actually, yesterday one incident was there. During the DRC, some students is expecting this is a descriptive thesis, but he says identification of the educational elements. It is a hypothesis. What is this identification of the educational elements? Oh, it is there, sir.
No, it is an objective, it is not a hypothesis.
Yes, first of all, they have to know what is the difference between objectives and a hypothesis.
Yeah, objectives are actually.
The main function of the hypothesis is to test the variables, the relation between the variables.
Variables.
Independent variable
or dependent variable.
Whatever it may be. Some of them they are thinking like that. That's why I'm asking the question on behalf of our faculty members. They must have understand this, what is going on there.
So objectives are wider in scope, and your hypotheses are formulated on the basis of the objectives only. Hypotheses are nothing but they are the derivatives of the objectives. That you have to keep in your mind. Objective is usually the objectives will start with to study about this or do this. With that they will start. Hypothesis, for that what you are going to assume, what is your intelligent guess about it, they are all the hypothesis. When there is an objective, and hypotheses are derivations of the objectives. For each one objective, 2 or 3 hypotheses can be formulated. Once you formulate the hypothesis, then they should be tested, they should be examined, they should be accepted or rejected. It is only the quantitative research mostly it goes on. Right?
One more thing, sir.
Yeah.
Our people wants to see the difference between the objectives and the hypothesis. Majority of the students are writing there is no differentiation between the objectives and the hypothesis.
No.
In the research report I will tell you.
That is a major mistake.
Yeah, I will explain everything in the research report in the afternoon, which I will show you.
What is the need of our students that I am telling, sir?
Yeah.
And how to formulate the objectives, how to formulate the hypothesis, how to identify the independent variable, dependent variable, intervening variable or demographic variables, how to identify.
Yeah.
Basic points our students want to know that.
We will explain, because now we have already explained about types of hypotheses. I have explained, and I have given you examples of each and every hypothesis. Now when you go for variables, because hypothesis establishes the relationship between the variables. Therefore, now we are discussing about the variables, then you will have a clear idea about the hypothesis and which kind of hypothesis could be prepared and what kind of, which is an independent variable, which is a dependent variable, which is a confounding variable, which is a latent variable, which is a dummy variable. All these things could be explained.
Right. Research questions only used for qualitative method or qualitative?
Which one?
Research question. Research question only.
No. Even for descriptive research, you will have research questions.
Also quantitative.
Yes, for qualitative and quantitative, for both you can use the research questions.
Okay,
Research questions, they are the questions which you are posing related to your study. Whatever it is, qualitative or quantitative or descriptive or experimental, whatever it might be, research questions will be there.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Right.
some students, they are writing in the case, null hypothesis and hypothesis, both in the, they are writing in the case. Is good or not?
What is null hypothesis and hypothesis means?
Hypothesis means
No, it should be one category of hypothesis.
Can I explain this here? Sir, our problem is in our university, in our department, the research scholars are writing. For example, there is no difference between the male and female students towards learning of Sanskrit.
Yeah.
There is no significant difference between the male and female students with regards to learning of Sanskrit.
It's a null hypothesis.
Immediately they are writing, there is a difference between the male and female with the learning of Sanskrit. These two hypotheses are needed or not?
Not.
Only one is sufficient or not? That is the question.
No, null hypothesis is sufficient.
Yes.
Sufficient, no need for going for
Research
it.
hypothesis.
Right. Next. Now, after variables, you will have a clear idea. Once variables are over, then you can have a good understanding about it. Let me complete it. Okay. So otherwise, it will be lagging behind. Then we can discuss at any point of time. So now, what is a variable? Here is a variable refers to characteristics or attributes that can be measured and manipulated and controlled. That is what you call it as a variable, which can be measured, which can be controlled, which can be manipulated. Even in educational Bloom's taxonomy, you have to use, he understands the subject. No, not accepted. You cannot measure it. Understanding has a specifications, which you call it as a behavioral objectives. He compares, which can be measured. Who discriminates, which can be measured. Who gives an example, which can be measured. Who can substitute the values in the given formula, which can be measured. So therefore, it should be subjected to the measurement. That's the reason why Lord Kelvin rightly says, if you are not able to measure anything, you are not having complete knowledge about that particular thing. That was the definition given by Lord Kelvin. If you are not able to measure, the same problem comes with psychology. When you say it is a study of soul, where is the soul? Where is the soul? Are you having soul? Where is your soul? It's a big question. Is it in the head? No. Is it in the heart? No. Is it in the belly? No. Is it in the limbs? No. Then you have no soul. You are saying that soul is there. Same question was asked. Milinda Panha is a wonderful book, which is a Buddhistic book which was written. There the king will ask the same thing to all the courtiers. He asked the same question. So, accept that soul is not there. Then they say, sir, a great monk Nagarjuna is there. You go to him and ask him. He will give the right answer to you. He went to the Nagarjuna's ashram. And when king came, Nagarjuna came out. And he said, so welcome, how you have come here? You would have sent a word, I would have come. No. You give me the answer. I want immediate answer from you. Is soul existing? He said, yes. Where is your soul? Is it in your head? No. In the heart, where is hidden? Where it is hidden? It is hidden means somewhere else it should be there. In the heart? No. In the belly? No. Same questions he had asked. Then Nagarjuna said, O king, how did you come all the way here? You answered to my question. Why are you putting a question to me? No, sir, I am giving you an answer to that. Please come inside. How did you come all the way, sir? I came by chariot. The king says, I came by chariot. Okay, well, do you call the man who is riding is a chariot? No. Do you call the horses a chariot? No. Do you call the wheels a chariot? No. Do you call the seat on which you sat a chariot? No. Do you call the top which is having a chariot? Is it a chariot? No. So you did not come by chariot. Where is chariot? The whole is a chariot. But now part is a chariot. In the same way, soul is existing on the earth, not that particular part. The king understood the logic and he prostrated before Nagarjuna and went away. So that's the beauty of the soul. So therefore, my dear friends, coming to this, they should be manipulated, controlled and measured. So, understand the relationship between the outcomes of interest. What is the outcome? That is to be decided by the variables. Next. So, types of variables in the research. One is independent variable. So, this is a variable which is not affected. It will affect the other variable. Then it is called as an independent variable. So it should be manipulated by the researcher. It will predict the outcomes. Hence it is called as predictor variable. Another name for the independent variable is predictor variable. Here is the question. Age is an independent variable. Gender is an independent variable. Dosage is an independent variable. And the treatment type is also used as independent variables. So independent variables means they will influence the dependent variable. Then only it is called as independent variable. Next. Dependent variable, this is a variable measured or observed to determine the effects of the independent variable. If it is affected by independent variable, then it is a dependent variable. It is an outcome of your research. Hence it is called as outcome variable. Independent variable is called, it predicts. So it is a predictor variable and it is an outcome variable. So for example, blood pressure. So when you are running, that is an independent variable. Your blood pressure increases. When you are walking or sleeping, your blood pressure will come down. When you are eating more sugar, more salt, eating more salt, that is an independent variable, and increasing of the blood pressure is dependent upon that particular variable. Hence, it is a dependent variable. Same way, the test scores and the reaction time. Actually, the reaction time is calculated with when ECR, you can say that about the blood. That depends upon only the reaction. In 1 hour, how much precipitation is coming back. And in a similar way, reaction time is when any, pin or something like that, you are subjected to problem with the skin, the blood will come out. And how much time it takes for the clotting. That is what you call the reaction time. So, if you have a problem like hemophilia, it takes hours together for the blood to clot, and you may die also sometimes. So that is an independent variable, this is the dependent variable. Next. Confounding variable. Con means together. Confounding variables means a variable which is following together the independent variable. That's called as confounding variable. Actually, we don't study about the confounding variable, but it will affect the results. And another important point which you have to make in your mind, confounding variables, they influence independent variable. Independent variable, in turn, it affects the dependent variable. But directly confounding variable will not act upon the dependent variable. So example, in a study of the effects of a new drug on disease. So if you are using more drug, the disease will be more fastly, the disease will be cured. But here the problem is, if he is an old man, naturally it takes a lot of time, because resistance power will be less. So age, obviously, patient's age will be a confound. We don't take that age into consideration. We are directly taking what is the impact of the drug on a human being. We are not bothering about it. But the age of the patient will play a very vital role. So here, age of the patient is a confounding variable which is interfering with the independent variable and affecting the dependent variable in turn. Such kind of variables are called as confounding variables. Next. Coffee drinkers may smoke more cigarettes. So because in the they go to the canteen and they take the coffee, before coffee is going on taking that one. So, than the non-coffee drinkers. So smoking, here it is not smoking actually, is not a confounding variable here. So coffee drinking is a confounding variable. So coming to the here, smoking, association between the coffee drinking and heart disease. Actually here, the coffee drinking and heart disease are not completely related. But smoking and heart disease are related. Coffee drinking is nothing but it is a confounding variable which is intervening here. Next, mediating variables. So they mediate, hence the name has come here. This is a variable explains the relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. This variable comes in between the independent and dependent variables and affected by the independent variable, which then affects the dependent variable. Just like confounding, mediating variable also. A study on the relationship between exercise and weight loss. Then the mediating variables is metabolism. Metabolism is nothing but anabolism and catabolism. Both are called as metabolism. Anabolism means building of the body with the proteins. Catabolism means breaking of the things. So that's the reason why unity is important and also fighting among the people is also equally important in the development of the society, which you call it as, in the sociology point of view, associative forces, dissociative forces. Both are equally important, otherwise society will not grow. So metabolism, if it takes more, when you are doing a wonderful exercise, the metabolism rate will be high. When metabolism rate is high, then it leads to weight loss faster. So here the metabolism acts as it is a mediation, it is doing a mediation. Hence it is called as mediating variable. Next. Moderator variable. It will actually smoothen the things. This variable that affects the strength or direction of the relationship between the independent and the dependent variables. See the example here. The effects of the caffeine on cognitive development of the individuals. The moderator variables is again the age. When you are older, the old people are more sensitive to caffeine rather than the younger generations. So therefore, it will moderate that effect. Hence it is called as moderator variable. Next. What is the difference between confound variable and mediator? They are looking like almost similar. This is the confusion comes. So a confounding variable is not a casual sequence, will not be there in that one. And it is related to both x and y. Thus it differs from the mediating variables. A confounder is a third variable that affects the variable of interest and makes them see related when they are not. Mediator variable is nothing but it's a mechanism. Mediator variable is a mechanism of relationship between two variables and explains the process. But confounding variable will not explain the process. Mediator variable will explain the process, and it is more or less related to a particular mechanism only. Next. What is a control variable? Usually this controlled variable will be used in the experimentation. Experimental research, this control variable will come. This control variable ensures it will not affect any relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. Control variables are important to ensure that any observed effects are due to the independent variable, not to other factors. A study in the effects of new teaching method on student performance. The control variable includes class size, teacher experience, and student demographics. For example, you take micro teaching. If you are doing the micro teaching for the whole class, it's a failure. You don't get the outcome. So only 5 to 10 students only should be there. Then only the micro teaching is possible. It is for the macro teaching. So class size, that's the reason why there should not be more than 30 students in a class. It's a prescribed norm. Why? In order to make the method or any new innovation successful, we require class size should be under control. And in a similar way, lighting should be under control and the noise should be under control. It is a cacophonous everywhere and he is doing some work, drilling work, and the teacher is teaching. And definitely after that, if you conduct an examination, nobody will get good marks. Because noise is actually intervening. It may be intervening variable, it works like a confounding variable also. And continuous variables. So for example, if you take height, the height may be 5 feet, 5'2", 5'3", 6, 6'5", 6'7", 7. So there is a continuum in this particular thing. Such kind of results are there, then it is called as a continuous variables. They are basically measured on scales. Same way, weight. Some 50 kilos, 60 kilos, 70 kilos, 80 kilos, 90 kilos. These are all the things. So continuity will be there, and which could be measured with the scales. And the temperature, same, 20, 30, 40. These are all the. So they're all called this. And now contiguous variables. Next, categorical variables. So here category means a limited number of values when are attributed, then it is called as a categorical variables. For example, gender, only limited, male, female, transgender. Now, third one also came into existence. Race, there will be African race, Mongoloid, Caucasoid, Australoid. These are all the various races. Only few races are there. So when the categorical values are there, then it's called as a categorical variable. But they are measured in two scales. One is a nominal scale, second is an ordinal scale. In the nominal scale, inherent order will be there, and in the ordinal variables are in a natural order. They will be followed. Next, nominal data is data that can fit various categories, include whether an animal belongs to, whether it belongs to fishes, whether it belongs to amphibians, whether it belongs to reptilia, whether it belongs to aves, whether it belongs to mammals. So which classification it includes, that is actually the nominal data can be distributed like that. In ordinal data that can be measured in a ranks or in order. For example, our data taken from the poll or the surveys which are doing. The first category, second, third, who is coming first, who is coming second, it's in the rank order. So that's the reason why ordinal data has poll surveys and other things will be exhibited in this. Next, discrete variables are often used in counting the frequency analysis. When you want to make a frequency analysis, these variables will be used. They have a specific values for them. Examples of this one, number of siblings you have, and 3 or 4, that will be, and the number of times a person does the exercise in a week, and next, the number of students in a classroom. These are all the things which you call it as a discrete variables. And in these variables, very clearly, the frequency which occurs, based on that, it is decided. Next, dummy variables. Dummy variables, and when you are doing a research, for example, take the gender, and male and female doing it a complex process at times. At the time, we'll give the number to that. For female, we give 0. For male, we give 1. And accordingly, analysis will be easily be made. There, we use this dummy variable. So because it is useful in the statistical analysis, directly with a female and male means it becomes more complex. In order to reduce the complexity, these dummy variables are being used. Next, extraneous variables. This is what was asked now. These are also confounding variable is a one kind of extraneous variable only. And extraneous variables are independent or dependent variables, but affect the outcome of the study. And confounding variable is affecting the independent variable, but it is affecting the outcome. Variables lead to erroneous conclusions. Example, age, gender. They play as a extraneous variable. Robert conducted a study to examine lack of sleep affected the college students. That's an example. Next. What is the difference between extraneous and a confounding variable? Extraneous variable is any variable that are not investigating that can potentially affect the dependent variable. They are in the confounding variable affecting the independent variable, but extraneous variable is affecting the dependent variables of your research study. Confounding variable is a type of extraneous variable not only affects the dependent variable and also it affects the independent variable too. Next. Extraneous and intervening variables who are actually intervene with the process. Extraneous variables are used in the experiment, are kept hidden and are not studied, are known as extraneous variables. They are hidden and we are not studying about them. Intervening variables are used in order to explain the relationship between the two variables. That is the major difference. Intervening variables help us to establish or explain the relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable, but extraneous variables we are not studying at all. Intervening variable is an abstract scientific concept that scientists invoke to label or summarize relationships between these two. So example, gravity, test, learning and intelligence, they are all called as intervening variables. When you are responding, based on your intelligence, your responses will be very accurately, you will respond to the things. But if you are not having a knowledge of that one, just they will put the ticks. There are various errors are there which we will discuss in that. Leniency error will be there and what you call central tendency error will be there. There are various errors. Usually what happens when we can study all those things in the rating scales. Generally 5 points are given, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good, good, neutral, bad, very bad. Generally, we don't write very good, we don't write very bad, so neutral will be our answer. Most of the people's tendency will be like that. This is called the error of central tendency. This is the error of central tendency. So here, in that way, gravity, test, learning and intelligence, they play a very vital role and they are all the intervening variables. Why should extraneous variables to be controlled? If you don't control, the results will be different. So we have to control them. Next. What are the 4 types of extraneous variables we will come across? One is a situational variables. Second is experimental bias. Third is demand characteristics. Fourth is participant variables. These are the 4 types of extraneous variables which will intervene in our research process. Coming to situational variables. Because this is what you call in the NCTE has explained about the 10 competencies. Among the 10 competencies, first competency is a contextual competency. Contextual competency means you have to cut the coat according to the cloth. There are only 5 students are there in the class. I am going to discuss about the variable student. There is no need for you to use that much of voice there. And there are 200 students. I am going to discuss about the various things about the variable today, and I think you can understand. Voice will not reach everybody. This is what you call contextual competency. What is the size of population there in the class? If windows are open, you have to raise more voice. What about the light properly coming or not? These are all these contexts which you have to see. They will have an impact in the teaching learning process. Whether the class is heterogeneous or homogeneous. All the students are male or female. For example, if you take all the male students are there in the class, then there was one day, there was a discussion between me and my wife. And at one place I studied and I repeated, I told her statement. Women are short, long-haired and short-brained sex. That is written there. Then my wife got angry. Why are you talking like that? It is written there, I did not say anything about this. If I give this statement, I saw the enjoyment in the faces are glowing for all the males, but angry with the females. They are not happy with the statement. Because So whatever examples you give, illustrations you give, should depend upon the composition of the class. If both are there, I should not speak out this kind of things. Right, in a via media, neutral way I have to speak. When only boys are there, they enjoy like anything this kind of statements. Then she asked me, then that's the reason why, what about the Punjabis? They are having the long hair. She told, that's the reason why they are called as 12 baje people. So, 12 baje people means, and he purchased a watch, went home, and after that he saw, and only one hand is seen, two hands. Then he got angry and went to the shop and he scolded, you bloody fellow, you cheated me because every watch will have two hands and only one hand I have seen in the watch. At what time, sir? He asked me. At 12 o'clock. At 12 o'clock only one hand will be shown. He said, now you see the watch. Two hands. Hurry, how the second hand has come? That's the reason why I said 12 baje people. They have a long hair and short brain. It is proved. So, it depends upon what you call the, this is what you call as the contextual competency of the teacher. What kind of example, what kind of illustration which you have to give, you should be very, very careful. Right. And the lighting conditions. If lighting conditions are good, he can write well, otherwise they stop writing. And particularly when the clouds are there and noise, lot of cacophonous sounds are coming, it will be difficult to understand, neither to teach nor to listen. And visual distractions. In the cricket match, you see, when he is ready to hit, somebody is walking there, immediately he stops and he says, clear that one. So visual distractions also will actually distract our constant temperature. All examinations are in the month of April, May, and while writing it, sweat will come and paper will be wet on one side and you feel tedious. Benches are properly will not be there. Then how fans are working, they don't work. And you will be sitting and writing it. It will have an impact on your performance, obviously. So it's the right time, only February, beginning of the March, only the examination should be conducted. These are all the situational variables which you call them. Next, experimental bias. When the person who is doing the experiment use some phraseology so that he expects the individuals as to behave in such a way. He is giving the hints to the people. And when he is giving the hints or the positive or negative tone which he is using also will have an impact on the outcome. Next. Third is demand characteristics. That is the interpretation of the things which at the introduction when this experiment, when that experimenter will test, and the researcher's behavior, these are the things which play a vital role in the outcomes. Next, participant variables. The natural intelligence, they do very well when you compare with others. The mood of the day. So if you are not happy, you are not healthy, or not taken tiffin, so your writing of examination or responding to that will vary. And individual's physical abilities. When you are weak, you sit like a cynical person. Hello Lakshana, Bhavantuda, Yendu Putinchevra, Nandan Putinto class lo. And you see all other people, they are all happy. So, you cynical thoughts will be there. So that's the reason why physical abilities of the people who are actually having deformities and other things, they play a vital role in this one. So these are all the various types of extraneous variables. Now, there is a need to control them. How do you control? There are three methods to control the variables, extraneous variables. One is a consistent environment, second is a research design, and third is a randomization. The best method is the randomization, is considered to be the best method to control them. Consistent environment means here the noise levels, temperature, what the situational variables which I spoke about, they should be provided properly, and then to some extent this extraneous variables impact can be reduced. Next, experimental design. You have to make the design so that the experimenter do not know which group belongs to which. You have to make the various groups and equal distribution should be done, then obviously the impact will be reduced. And then randomization. In the randomization technique, you will make the persons into two groups. Some group is highly trained, some group has no training. And these people will be distributed equally in both the groups. Then all the situational variables and everything will be under control. This is the method very frequently used by the researchers for controlling the extraneous variables. Next, each member of the population in the universe should have opportunity to be selected, and it control the unknown extraneous variables also, the randomization method. And not able to control, then you have to eliminate them completely. This is the three important aspects which you have to take. Now, latent variables. Latent means secret variables. Quality of life, confidence, and morale, and happiness. They play a very vital role in the responses. Back. So variables cannot be directly observed. They cannot be measured also. But they will have an impact. Latent variables are often used in the psychological and social research only. We will use them very often. About the personality traits, attitudes, and the beliefs. In the attitudes, the quality of life and the confidence of the people, they play a very vital role. They are all called as latent variables. Then, moderator, mediator variable. Both the things will moderate and also mediate. Hence, they are called as moderator, mediator variables. Next, examples of some demographic variables. Age. So it is a continuous variable. Keep in your mind, it's a continuous variable because age will be 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And gender, it's a category. So it is a categorical variable. It represents the sex of the individuals. Educational level, it may be illiterate, up to graduate, postgraduates, and above. So this way, you can classify. And next. So income, it's also a continuous variable. Up to 1 lakh, up to 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs. So there is a continuum will be there. So continuous variable. Weight is also a continuous variable. Ethnicity of the group. When you go for various places, Tigrinya, Tigray, Bilano, Sahu, these are all the various ethnic groups. In whole Africa, people fight not on the basis of the language, basis on the ethnicity only, they will fight. Here we will fight on the basis of religion, on the basis of the caste, on the basis of the creed, and there they don't fight like that. On the basis of ethnicity only, people will fight. And then time spent on social media. This is also a continuous variable. 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours. Nowadays, more than 10 hours people are speaking all the time, only that mobile only. And social media, Facebook, and after that, handbook is left. Only Facebook is retained now. So this is the state of the affairs. But even midnight they will get up and again they will see any likes have come or not come. It's really very pathetic and unfortunate. People are addicted like an opium. And all housewives, they don't bother, they will put vegetables in the stove, whether they are actually completely roasted or not. but they will see that serial where the villainy woman will be there, what she is doing there. Till that is completed, they won't come back to the kitchen. So this is the very sorry state of the affairs. Just like an opium, people are habituated to social media. Marital status. It's also married, unmarried, divorcee, single. These are also, there's an advertisement. Again, I have become a single. She was quite happy because she left her husband and ready for the another one. So, these are all the advertisements which is having a very negative impact in the minds of the people. And then comes the blood pressure. It's a continuous variable which changes within 120 by 80, 120 by 70, and 130 by 80, 140 by 90, so on and so forth. And in job satisfaction, there is another one which is playing a very vital role. Next. So characteristics of the variables. So this is the measurement is one characteristic of the variables where you can measure on the nominal scales, ordinal scale, or interval scales, or ratio scales, which can be used. And the range is another characteristic, and the variability. Those who are having high variability are low variability. Those who are having the high variability and their range of values will be high, and here the range of values will be low. And then validity and reliability. So reliability means you are aware. Whenever the test is conducted, it should be consistent. And validity means what actually you wanted to measure. If you are able to measure that, that is what you call validated. So this is every variables should have that validity and reliability. Directionality. It's the meaning of the relationship between the variables is not symmetrical. In a study of relationship between smoking and lung cancer, smoking is the independent variable and cancer is the dependent variable. So the relationship, when you are going to study about it, it gives the direction to the study. Next. Purpose of variables. To provide a way of measuring the, quantifying the concepts, explain the relationship between the different factors, to make predictions about the future outcomes, and to test the hypothesis. Only the variables are very important for the confirmation or the rejection of a given hypothesis. Next, advantages of the variables. There will be a control of the effects. External factors could influence the outcome of the study, and replicability can be avoided, and the accuracy can be attained, and the generality will be there, and the clarity of the variables are seen. And disadvantages, simplification of this, measurement errors will be there, which we have already told, so many types of errors which will confront. And third is a confounding variables, they are intervening, extraneous variables, they are intervening, and they will have an impact on the effects. And limited scope will be there for this. And ethical concerns are also plays a vital role. Using variables that are related to sensitive topics such as the sexuality may raise concerns about the privacy and the discrimination. Because this is, people will not speak freely about the sexual aspects, but it is ethical aspect is actually involved in this one. So the data should be collected clandestine, but unfortunately that's the reason why people won't give you a respond properly for that. So these are all to some extent about the variables of the study. Sir has already come, so that I have this PPT will be given to you and you can go through. Tomorrow also I will be available, and therefore you can anytime you can have an interaction. Afternoon session also I will be here. So therefore research proposal will be there. we can complete a bit earlier so that we can have a interaction with regards to this.
If you don't mind, sir, just 5 minutes, please.
Yeah.
You ask any questions with regard to
Any side. ఏ దేహంలోనైనా సందేహం ఉంటే చెప్పండి.
There is no time, quick you ask, one by one.
Sir, how to recognize the education elements and the social elements? Actually, we are doing research in descriptive methods, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, critical study in education elements in Ramayana. But how to recognize that these are educational elements, these are social elements? It is any proof, sir?
No, actually, when you're speaking about the educational elements, means you have to understand about the one is the philosophical foundations, second is the social foundations. When you speak about the philosophical foundations, what about the teacher, which is set? What about the aims of education, which is set there? What about the student, studentship, prescriptions of the student, prescriptions of the students, and the uniform of the students, and also the responsibilities of the, these are all the educational elements. And coming to I'll finish. Evaluation process, how the evaluation process that takes place, and what is the curriculum which is actually prescribed there, what kind of discipline which is imposed, whether it is emancipationistic or idealistic discipline or repressionistic discipline, what kind of discipline is imposed. These are all the educational elements which you take into consideration. As far as society is concerned, because it is various sociological aspects of the impact of the family you take them. It is a social concept, sociology of education when you go for that one. Impact of various agencies, for example, church is there, home is there. Most of the teaching that takes place only at the home. So the first teacher is the mother, there's no doubt in it. And in a similar way, without learning any grammar, a child can speak beautiful language without any mistakes. So grammar, learning of grammar or speaking of a language has no relationship. They are completely different entities. And the social control, because earlier it was the social legislation. In the Vedic education period, when you speak about education is sought after the social legislation. That's what they say. What is social legislation? There are various customs, traditions, folkways, mores, attitudes, aptitudes. All these things which are uncoded must be coded and refined and should be included in the curriculum and transmitted from generation to another generation. Who told you to, do you eat with the right hand or with the left hand? Right hand. If you eat with the left hand, any digestion problem comes? No. Or any pain comes to you? No. Then why are you not eating that? Who told you to eat with the right hand? Your father told. It's a custom. Who told him? His father. His father. From ages immemorial, the same thing is transmitted. And now we are not, if any child is, children do not know, they eat with the left hand. But mother will beat. Eat with this right hand. So, what is the sanctity behind? Nothing is there. It's only a custom, which is actually these are all the aspects. There are the social elements. Okay.
Sir, simple question, sir. Can a dependent variable become an independent variable for another dependent variable?
Usually, when you are framing a hypothesis, dependent will be dependent variable only. It cannot be independent
Smoking
variable.
causes cancer.
No,
cancer is dependent variable.
Yeah.
Smoking is an independent variable.
Yeah.
Then if cancer causes something else, then cancer will be dependent variable. The another causing, that will be independent.
No, that will be another proposition. No?
Okay. Any
Dependent variable can affect the outcome, but it cannot actually work as an independent variable. It can affect the outcome.
That comes under the complex hypothesis. That comes under the complex hypothesis.
So two or more will be there in that one. Okay. So
It is complex hypothesis. We should for example, complex hypothesis, smoking and drinking is causes for liver damage and lung damage.
cancer, both the things. So at least complex hypothesis states that two or more independent variables and two or more dependent variables, they are there then it is called as a complex variable. So thank you very much. And yeah. Yes, yes. Confounding variable? Which one? No, whatever topic you are taken, if any confounding variable is there, then you have to identify that one. You have to identify, you are not applying that one. If that comes, then we should try to eliminate that kind of confounding. It's also extraneous. Various methods, 3 methods I told you, then how to control them. So randomization is the best method where you can control that.
In descriptive research, which design will have to use qualitative research or quantitative research?
Descriptive research is a qualitative research only. Actually, research is of 2 types: qualitative, quantitative. In the qualitative research, this descriptive research, analytical research, and correlational research, it can be used in both the things. These are all the various designs of the research. Okay.
If I use the quantitative research, we have to write the hypothesis. In the descriptive research, we should not write the hypothesis.
Usually there is no need for you to write the hypothesis when you are, particularly in Sanskrit like subjects, when objectives will be there. But then if hypothesis you are writing, what for the hypothesis? It gives the direction to you. And whatever thing you are writing, it should be measurable, it is quantifiable, and it should be tested. Here it is not possible to do all those things.
Will there be a mixed research?
Which one?
Qualitative and quantitative, mixed one?
Sometimes
Where you can mix here? You can do that.
It is needed.
When you are actually, if you do some questionnaire you give for the qualitative research, then you can quantify it.
In Sanskrit education, we are doing this type of research where we are giving a hypothesis. So we are going for the aims itself.
Which one?
In Sanskrit education field, we
Yeah.
are taking these hypotheses. And we are making it to clarify that this is accepted or not accepted. All the Sanskrit research are not quantitative itself. They are not a descriptive type. In Sanskrit education field, we are taking such a...
Yeah, when it is quantitative, where you are using a survey method and using that opinion scale or the rating scale or otherwise the attitude scale and other things are there. There are so many things, opinions about the various facts in the Vedas. That could be done in the you can quantify. When you are going to quantify, then hypothesis is to be formulated. Then hypothesis you can...
Otherwise there is no need for hypothesis. If you take hypothesis, you have to prove it. Then statistical application of...
Pardon? No, we are not putting any intervening variable. If anything is intervening, that you have to identify and the impact should be actually curtailed.
Sir, actually, most of cases will find intervening variable is included. Just for example, age, gender.
Which one? Age itself is coming under various categories of variables. Even they are demographic variables also. Age and gender and rural or urban. They are actually used in various aspects. Not only for this. You take the PPT. You take the PPT, go through that, and now note down wherever you have doubts.
Our student's problem is sometimes independent variable, dependent variable, and intervening variable, and demographic variable. These are four highly categorized. So you say sometimes gender is demographic variable.
Yeah.
Gender is intervening variable.
Yes.
How can you distinguish this type? This is the intervening variable. This is the demographic variable. How to identify? How to distinguish? This is the question. Yes.
No, when you are making a hypothesis, based on that only, whether gender is coming as an intervening one, or it is a mediator, or it is a moderator, or otherwise, usually we are using gender, race, educational qualifications, and rural or urban. These are all as a demographic variables only. In most of the researches, we are using those things. Independent variable, dependent variable, and demographic variable.
Whether it effects or not, that also is not.
So when it is having an effect, when it is a cause and effect relationships are there, it's a casual. There also these things will play the role.
Situationally it's a change.
Yeah, it changes based on the hypothesis which you make. Okay.
Generally we are framing the hypothesis, testing the result,
Yeah.
testing of the hypothesis.
At times, without our knowledge, something will be intervened, or confounding, or extraneous. Which is that you have to find out. Because once you are going to do that, you can understand that where the impact is there. So first you get rid of the fundamentals. And PPT will be supplied to you all of you.
Actually,
Go through that and write.
more than 50 students, research scholars are here. They are eagerly waiting to know the clarification of all these items. That is the main motto of this research scholars.
That's good, that's good. We appreciate.
Because of lack of time, another resource person has also come. If you have any doubt, write it on.
Otherwise, the whole session we can actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, afternoon, I will be greatly beholden to the management.
Respected Professor K.V.S.N. Murthy sir, ex-dean from Kanchipuram University, and respected Professor Neela Tiwari sir from CSU, HOD Shiksha Shastra Vibhag, and respected Professor Venkat Rao sir, and Director of In-Service Teacher Education, and respected our coordinator sir, Professor R. Chandrasekhar, and respected all the teachers and scholars. Actually, I am very thankful for giving the opportunity of word of thanks. And presently, you know that the education is going to be more difficult, more advanced. So that we need to enough knowledge and enough skill. And a teacher, an ideal teacher, not only helps the student in school as a friend, philosopher, and guide, but rather he stretches out over the life of the student. And if you keenly focus on some theses, you can find lot of theses severely affected with wrong concept, because it is lack of knowledge, insufficient knowledge, and lack of experience, competencies, and so on. So, with the lucky guys got the opportunity to improve ourselves through the inculcate the prominent knowledge of our Murthy sir. So, on behalf of this NSU and our participants, a warm thanks goes to you, sir, because you analyzed the concept which are deeply related to research, and you broke them into many parts and made it whole. It means this is the way by which student can understand better. And after that, a special thanks goes to our director sir, because sir, you are the backbone of this program, and your endless efforts and your commitment made it real, sir. And after that, is one thanks goes to our coordinator sir, Professor R. Chandrasekhar, for his great endeavors and guidance, a commitment outlined to succeed this session. I thanks to all the assistant professors who were directly related to organize this program. And at last but not the least, every credit goes to research scholar, because if they enable the program, the session won't be successful. Thank you very much.